Willis Carrier was born on the 26th of November 1876 in Angola, New York, United States. His father, Duane Carrier, was a music teacher. He professionally taught music to the local villagers in Angola. Aside from his career as a music teacher, he also owned and ran a small grocery store. Before Willis's birth, his parents had been longing for a child for several years. His birth brought happiness and contentment to them. As a child, Willis was typically fascinated by mechanisms that fueled his desire to acquire small mechanical skills. Young Willis received his primary education in Angola Academy. He was indeed a bright student, and his teachers attested to this fact. However, at the age of 9, Willis really struggled in grasping the concept of fractions. According to his teacher, he was only being afraid to solve this aspect of mathematics. Willis's mother had to help her son out. She presented a pan of apples before him and asked him to cut all the apples into halves, quarters, and eighths. She then told him to add and subtract the parts. This was truly a fun and effortless way for Willis to comprehend the concept of fractions. Willis's mother also helped her son to overcome other problems he faced in mathematics. At the age of 11, a tragic incident occurred, making Willis suffer emotional instability for years. His mother, who was a helpful and reliable companion, died. It took nearly a decade for Willis to overcome the heartbreak. After completing high school, Willis luckily won a state scholarship and got admitted to Cornell University, where he studied mechanical engineering. When he graduated from college, he was employed by a lithograph company in Brooklyn, New York. After working for a few months, the company was confronted with a tough problem. At the time, it was summer and the factory was usually heated due to the machinery used in production. Willis decided to take this challenge upon himself by solving the problem. He came up with an idea to develop an air conditioning system that would help eradicate heat and maintain a cool temperature in the factory. This was a beautiful idea that no one had ever thought of. With permission and financial backing from the company, Willis swung into action immediately. Willis spent several months experimenting and trying to get the right calculations for his invention. Eventually, he got everything right and his air conditioning system was built successfully. This invention worked excellently well for the company and then opened a new era in engineering afterwards. Years later, Willis started his own company manufacturing and installing air conditioners in some of the largest companies in the United States. Today, the existence of refrigeration is attributed to Willis owing to his innovation for over 100 years ago. Sometimes in life, just one idea can single-handedly catapult you to greatness. Just one idea can lift you from the level of mediocre to the height of an icon. However, being able to come up with such an idea will require you to think outside the box. Thinking outside the box is simply pondering on things that no one would normally think of. It's going beyond the normal level of thinking in order to fathom something extraordinary. T.D. Jakes said, "Big ideas come from forward-thinking people who challenge the norm and think outside the box." Before you can be able to develop big ideas, you must devote yourself to thinking outside the box. Don't limit yourself to the normal practice. Move beyond the usual way of doing things and achieve something spectacular. Don Beshetrit said, "Thinking outside the box means crossing disciplines and pulling in expertise from outside of the standard boundaries. To think outside the box, you are to disregard the usual rule and popular opinion." Great men who had innovative ideas didn't get those ideas by working in accordance with regular standards. They chose to be different and unusual. Lakshmi Mittal said, "Always think outside the box and embrace opportunities that appear wherever they might be." There are so many opportunities that can be seen when you begin to think outside the box. When you start thinking differently from others, your eyes will be opened to identify opportunities that normal can't recognize. Willis Carrier developed the air conditioning system by thinking outside the box. Stop limiting yourself to the normal ideology. Start thinking outside the box.